Happy Diwali everyone, my name is Dev and I'm going to be making a traditional Indian sweet called Jamun. Let's get started. So I'm going to start with the actual Jamun itself, and for that you're going to need quite a large bowl, and you're going to add 1 cup of milk powder, a 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder, 2.5 tablespoons of all-purpose flour, 1 tablespoon of semolina, and finally 1 teaspoon of ghee. And you want to use your hands for this, make sure they're clean, and you just want to mix everything for a couple of minutes to make sure everything is evenly combined. I've been mixing for a couple of minutes and everything is fully combined. As you can see, you shouldn't be able to see any big pieces of ghee and everything should be around the same color. So now that that's done, I'm going to add my liquid. So here I have about 1/2 cup of milk, and you want to add this gradually, so about 1 tablespoon at a time. So I'm going to add a tablespoon and mix in between, and you want to do this to make sure that it doesn't get too sticky. So yeah, just do it gradually. So I've added my milk gradually, and I actually have some left over. I'm not going to add the rest of this because it is beginning to get sticky. And what you're looking for, it should be pretty sticky. It should stick to your hands, but it still should, you should be able to form like a ball, kind of like this. And at this point, I'm going to keep mixing, making sure I get everything on the sides before I add my coloring. So I've been mixing for a few more minutes, and it's now completely changed. It's no longer sticking to my hands, and it's like forming a nice ball. This is the point when you should add your food coloring. So you want to use some red food coloring, and the amount you add is like completely based on yourself, like what your taste is. So I'm gonna add just a little bit, and I would recommend adding a small amount to start and then gradually adding more, just to make sure you get the exact color you want. So I'm gonna add just a little bit. And I'm using this regular food coloring. If you have a gel food coloring or an icing food coloring, you obviously want to use a lot less because it's pretty concentrated. But I'm going to start with this much, and if I need more, I'll add more. So just continue to knead this until it's fully combined. So I've been kneading for a few minutes. It's not fully combined, but at this point I can tell that it's not as dark of a color as I want it to be. So I'm just going to add a little bit more food coloring. That's it, and I'm going to continue kneading until it's fully combined. My Jamun mixture is now ready. It's the exact consistency I want. Also, the color is perfect. You're basically looking for no white spots. You shouldn't be able to see any inconsistencies, and it also should be able to form a ball without being too sticky. So this is perfect, and I'm now going to shape my Jamun. So I'm doing it in 2 different shapes, and it's traditionally made in these 2 different shapes. One is a traditional circle, and the other one is an oval. So you want to grab a little bit of your mixture and just start to roll it. If you feel like it's sticking to your hands too much, you can get a bit of extra ghee and rub it around your fingers, but mine seems to be okay. Just like that. So before frying, I'm going to start on the sugar syrup, and this is a really important part of the dish. Because this is what you soak the actual Jamun in. You want to make sure it's not too thick, otherwise it won't be able to penetrate through the Jamun. But you also don't want to make sure it's too thin. So the best way to make sure that it's perfect is at the end of the process, when it's fully finished simmering. Let it cool down and put a little bit in between your fingers, and you should be able to feel that it's sticky, but also be able to move your fingers freely. But for now, we're going to add 1.5 cups of white sugar to a medium saucepan, along with 2.5 cups of water and 4 green cardamom. And you just want to give it a quick stir and let it come to a simmer, making sure you stir so it's fully dissolved and it's really even. And yeah, just cook it until it begins to simmer. These are my final Jamun shapes. I've made 2 circle ones and 4 of them in this shape. One important thing I forgot to mention is that you don't want to overmix your mixture, because that will result in a dense kalo jamun that won't be able to soak up as much of the sugar. So just be really careful when you're doing that, but this is perfect. My sugar syrup has been cooking for a while now. It's come to a boil and it's about done. It's now time to fry the kalo jamuns. So this is quite a slow process. It's not like traditional frying. It won't bubble up immediately, and your pan is supposed to be on medium-low heat. It's not supposed to be at a very high temperature. My kala jamuns have finished frying. You can tell they're done because they have this really nice dark color. They're called kala jamun for a reason. Kala means black, and that's exactly what you're going for. So you can tell they're really, really dark. I'm now ready to put my kala jamuns into the sugar syrup. So my sugar syrup, it's not piping hot. It's not boiling or anything, but it still is pretty hot, and that's what you want. So I'm gonna just dunk them in. And you want to soak this from anywhere between 1 to 2 hours, but you want to make sure you get at least 1 hour of soaking time in, because it will not be as soft or as flavorful as it should be if you don't. Now I'm going to make some eggless vanilla ice cream to go with my kala jamun. So the reason I'm doing it eggless is because during Diwali we don't eat non-vegetarian food, and that includes eggs. But either way, this recipe is super easy and it's really, really creamy, and it only consists of 4 core ingredients, one of which being our flavoring, which in my case is vanilla. So to start, I have 2.5 cups of heavy cream in quite a large measuring cup. You can use a bowl too if you don't have one this big. And to it, I'm gonna add 1.5 cups of whole milk, 1 cup of sugar, and 2 teaspoons of vanilla bean paste. This can be hard to find sometimes, so if you don't have this, you can use regular vanilla extract. You're just gonna have to use a little bit more, so I'll recommend about 3 teaspoons. And you just wanna stir this for a solid 5 to 10 minutes. I know that sounds like a long time, but you have to make sure all the sugar is dissolved, otherwise this won't be as creamy and the flavor won't be as consistent as it can be. So I'm gonna spend a good amount of time stirring this until it's fully combined. I've been mixing my ice cream base for about 5 minutes now, and I can tell that it's fully dissolved and everything, because I can see little specks of vanilla all through the base. I've also given this a taste. Everything tastes consistent, tastes really good. I will mention that this is quite sweet, and although the base might taste really sweet, once it is frozen, it will lose a little bit of that sweetness, so don't worry. But if you still feel it's too sweet, you can add a little bit more heavy cream or milk. But for now, I think it's okay. So I'm gonna pour it into my ice cream churner. And I'm going to churn this according to my machine's instructions. Most ice cream churners are different. For ones that need to be pre-frozen, it's about 20 minutes, and as for mine, it's about 40 minutes. But once it is fully churned, just put it in the freezer while we complete everything else. My kala jamun are now fully finished. I've gone ahead and cut a few, and this is just for reference. This is what the color should look like. Obviously depends on how much food coloring you added, but it's like a really nice vibrant red, and that's what I was going for, and I'm really happy with it. You also want to make sure the exterior is like a really nice dark color. That's why it's called kala jamun. I also added a little bit of rose water to the sugar syrup. This adds a lot of flavor. It is optional, but it's really, really good, and I do recommend it. I also have my vanilla ice cream here and some pistachios, and I'm ready to play.